Hey everybody, welcome to Lock Pod. We're Belgium's top-rated podcast. Season 7 premiere, live from French Lick, Indiana. How's this right now?
It's good to be back after what, I don't know, is it good to be back, John? 8 weeks off, 6 weeks off. We enjoyed our summer.
I'm excited, man.
Where's Lindsay?
Where's Lindsay?
Lindsay's like, oh, that's a real funny
Where's
one.
Jill?
Where's Lindsay and Jill? AWOL. Why? This is the last boys trip I have on my calendar for the entire year, and I'm sticking to French Lick. IDEA weekend is always a boys trip as long as I'm alive. And so God bless Lindsay, we love her. She gets to go on every other trip of the year, right?
You know, Mayor, I don't know if you can see the Facebook Live of this, but it is just such a great backdrop here at French Lick on the porch. I mean, it's historic. It's
You got beautiful Keith Cheney in the backdrop. Isn't that great?
I was trying to block him, but I don't know if that's working or not.
Is it? No.
Love to have Keith.
Yes, it's good to have Keith. So, you know, Mayor, we haven't been on. There's so much that's happened since the last time we were on Lock Pod. And I just want to mention also, I want to thank Dana Black. We've got a joint share on Indiana's own Dana Black Turn Left podcast. You can go to Dana Black's page and follow her. So I just want to thank Dana.
Dana Black and I were friends for a long time. She's got a great podcast, Turn Left.
Turn Left. So check it out. And we want to thank her for doing a joint broadcast with us today.
And speaking of,
Hey
Dana, what's up?
Hey, the sounds is terrible.
Turn left. Turn left.
So as Dana fixes her stream, we're on for the first time in about 8 weeks. You know, Mayor, one of the things...
It was sort of negligent how long we were off the air.
Well, it was good, actually. It was a nice break.
Kevin always wants to break more than I do.
We
But
need to get you on the campaign trail. So,
look at Drew. Hey, Drew, what's going on?
I want to talk to you a
Drew
little bit
Anderson
about...
from the Indiana Democratic Party. Nice to see you, Drew.
We had Drew on last year.
It was an overwhelming applause. I don't know if you heard it. It was the standing ovation. Yeah. Oh, that's better. It was a sympathy clap, Drew, totally.
Let me get in here and get on camera because we want to show up that new tattoo. Come
Yeah,
here.
would you? Yeah, come here. Hey, everybody, this is Drew.
We talked about it, but now
Hey,
we can
Drew.
see.
Yeah, you know, this is, you got that right before the pipe break, right, Drew?
Yeah.
And then,
Is it coming? No, it's real, man.
and then, by the way, show the shirt off. I've seen a lot of these this weekend. This is French Lick weekend. Row your boat, So it's good to see. Yeah.
Nice, Drew. Thanks
And
for
by the way, the newly fiance, the newly engaged Keith Cheney right behind us, right?
I think I saw
Yeah,
her.
and Lauren, his
Fiancé.
fiance, Lauren Giardini. Congratulations. Let's give it up for Keith and Lauren. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, baby.
That's why he's in this picture.
I am not used to Lock Pod in front of a live studio audience. I'm used to making an ass of myself.
In
The
privacy
of our own
privacy
studio.
of our own
It's a lot worse when you're in front of other people.
Well, let's talk about that shirt you got on.
Why do you want to talk about my shirt?
It's a brand new one.
So this is the worst part. So like Thursday I get here and I'm wearing my favorite dinosaur shirt. It's a dinosaur Hawaiian shirt. And Kevin's like a buzzkill right off the bat. He's like, you can't wear that shirt. I'm like, I wore the shirt all the way here. I was driving with Councilman Warp. I'm like, why can't I wear this shirt? He goes, you wore that shirt last year on the same day at French Lick. And I'm like, who keeps track of that? Who keeps track of that?
The only reason I remember is because we were going to the sponsors reception and you said, "Is this gonna? Can I wear this out to that?"
I didn't say that this year. I
didn't
wear it.
say
It's
last
straight
year,
up wearing
but
it.
it reminded me that last year you had that same shirt on.
But what I'm saying is, who keeps track of that, right? It's
mean besides me?
Last Thursday in French Lick last year, you wore the same shirt. I'm like, what the hell? That's a total buzzkill.
You wouldn't change.
You gotta have confidence to wear a dinosaur Hawaiian
I
shirt.
agree,
And
do
you
have
shattered my
that.
freaking confidence.
You were
right
shooting
there.
today.
I wore shooting today.
That's how
because
much
I took it off the other day. I went out and bought another shirt.
That's how much confidence he has.
And by
in
the
that
way,
shirt.
shirts at French Lick are not cheap, but they are super cool. I mean,
Look
right?
at you.
Super
Trying to
cool.
figure out what
But
that looks like. Lemons or limes?
I'm trying to figure it out too. I think it's limes.
Tens or
I don't know.
igloos or-
It may not even be lemon limes. And I have another shirt with limes on it, so I get to go.
But
with
I think the
shirt
fact
right
that you wear your dinosaur shirt shooting says something.
Yeah.
How was shooting, by the way?
Oh, so this is really good. So I have on my team, we're up Tammany versus Crown
Yeah,
Point.
sporting plays here at French Lick.
But I went cop heavy on my team this year, right?
Smart.
So I'm thinking I'm surrounded by law enforcement. So we're shooting clays. I'm figuring these guys are going to tear it up, right? Not so. Like, we barely beat these guys. And then it comes down in my group, it's a civilian versus my assistant chief of police, Jeff Long. And they go to a shoot-off. It's a civilian. And I'm like, dude, you're my assistant chief of police. This is not going to work out for you, right? So Jeff goes out there, and the civilian, Johnny Mitchell, by the way, cranks
Good
out
work,
2
Johnny.
shots. 2 shots in the overtime, right?
That's pressure on Jeff.
So Jeff's going up there. I'm like, hey, no pressure. I mean, if you lose, Jeff, we both understand you're demoted, right? And he totally
You lose your
understands, right?
job.
So he goes up there. You get 4 shots each round. He hits all 4 of them to win the game. Hey, the police department, let's give it up for HPD, everybody.
Jeff Long.
So Jeff will kick us out for for another couple weeks until the next crisis.
Until the next
so, yeah.
sporting play tournament.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to have everybody if you could give everybody just a quick update. I know you've been doing so
We
many
got-
things
we got
around the
Chairman
state.
Mike. We got
Is he
Chairman-
here?
He's behind us already.
Bring
yeah.
him in.
Yeah, let's do this, right. Hey, everybody, let's give it up for Chairman Mike Schmuhl,
Get in
Indiana
here.
Democratic Party.
Yes.
Welcome back to Lockpod,
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Good to see you.
Thank
Yes.
you so
What's
much,
going on?
Mr. Mayor.
Come on in.
Good to see you.
Nice to
Sneak
see
on
you.
in. Can you get through? All right.
Look at these
It's
hats.
narrow.
Oh yeah, isn't it cool? You get the old school one though. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
I mean, you could
This
talk
work?
in this one. We'd have to get really close. So.
It's good to be on the porch.
It
Good to
is.
see you on the porch. Good to be on the pod.
Rock and
On the
roll.
porch.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
I am the number 2 fan, I think, of Lockpod.
Are you right behind Joe Hogg?
Right behind Joe Hogsett.
Yeah, we
Mayor
appreciate
Joe
it.
Hogsett, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 fan.
And,
Yeah,
and this
number
is
1 fan.
how many times on the pod now? 3? Because the porch
I
last year you
think-
came up.
3. Yeah, I think that's right.
That's great.
3rd time.
I mean, you're up there in Representative Andrade territory with
That's
the
right.
visits, right?
Mike Andrade in the
He's
house.
in the
Right,
house.
right.
Se-
He's everywhere.
Second time for French Lake as chairman.
Second time for, yeah.
So give us this time last year, I think the party was in a much different spot than it is
Yeah.
this year. So
Yeah.
tell us what is different in 2022 versus 2021 we were sitting around the porch on Lock.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. 2021 last year, off year, the 1 year out of 4 where we don't have anything on the ballot, quote unquote rebuilding year. We did not treat it like a rebuilding year, as we all know. Last time around here, we had visited 40 places around Indiana.
Yeah.
Now about 120.
I know. You
A
got me.
big part of that is because of this guy right here traveling around the
Chairman
state.
Mike
So,
and Drew and Lauren lined up an aggressive tour over a multitude of topics, and and Kevin knows this, and we were hitting the road. It was great for me as a new candidate. I literally just jump on the tour and bounce around the state and meet all these new people. And I have to say, Chairman Mike, you taking over has been a great thing. And I tell you, here we are a year later. I feel a lot different as a candidate because basically I announced last year at French Lake.
that's right. That's
So I've been
right.
doing this a year now.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, my frame of mind a year ago versus my frame of mind now, a lot different. Because
Yeah.
last year it was more like, I'm going to teach Todd Young a lesson, right? Todd Young doesn't deserve to walk to another re-election. I'm going to teach him. I'm a good candidate. We're going to show him the Democrats got it. And now here we are a year later, and the world has changed,
Oh, yeah. Big time.
right?
Big time. Big
I
time.
mean,
Yeah.
I tell you, it's exciting. I mean, it's horrifying that we're talking about things that were worked out in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And here we are in 2022
Right.
talking about the same issues.
Right.
But as a candidate, it's exciting because you see people that are pissed off.
Yeah.
And, like Drew walking around with his row your vote shirt. And it's not just Drew walking around, it's women walking around. It's everybody is in this together. We're not going to sit back. Well, half our population is losing their civil liberties and just act like it's a normal November 8th.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, one of the things I've heard over the last couple of days from people of all ages is the number of young people who are here this year
A lot.
and are getting engaged in the Democratic Party. I think we should give it up for them, all the young folks. And
Young folks!
the Indiana Young Democrats have a slogan, and it's "Young gets it done."
Yeah.
Well, I add to that, Todd Young
Doesn't get it done. I like that.
I saw that shirt last year. I'm like, this isn't going to work very well. Like, we're running against this guy, right?
So,
Young
Mr. Chairman,
doesn't get it done, right?
you've seen, this is, as a chairman, we just heard from Mayor Tom, and he said as a candidate, he can feel the change in momentum when Roe versus Wade was overturned, when the special legislative session went in, what's come out of that special legislative session. So you as a chairman, how do you feel it's setting up for, from top of the ticket through your ticket, through the statewide, and then trickling down into the legislative races?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kevin. And I think I was actually talking to Pete about this yesterday. 2010 was such a really tough midterm election.
Yeah.
First term, midterms, first term presidents are usually tough,
Yeah.
right? The wind's coming in your face, tough stuff to deal with. Back then, it was Obamacare. Remember?
Mhm.
Big bad Obamacare,
Mhm.
all this stuff.
Right.
One issue. You fast forward 12 years, this midterm election right now, there is not just one issue.
No.
There are so many issues. But if you take healthcare, the number one healthcare issue is reproductive freedom
Yeah.
and a woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
And this time, 12 years later,
Mm-hmm.
the healthcare issue is on our side,
That's right.
Yes, we've got
not
it.
on their side. You know what I mean? And so that's a very personal issue for people. And I think it just changes the game for the midterm elections,
It's-
up and down the ballot.
Absolutely. And I think, like you just mentioned Secretary Pete, it was unbelievable. Yesterday, having him in town. You were able to bring him in. I know you guys have known each other since high school. And to get Secretary Buttigieg in here, I think just was another just energizing impact to hear him speak and to hear him remind all of us what this Democratic president has done, what this Democratic administration has done, not just from a transportation perspective, but from a healthcare perspective. And I think it just gets everybody energized for what's going on.
Oh, it was awesome, and it was funny. Yesterday, I woke up and one of the first people to text me was Pete, and he's just like, "I'm so excited! I can't wait to get back home," which was really amazing. And so he brought tons of energy to one of our first days here at IDEA. And what was amazing is the local Democrats here last Sunday had a little sign party, and they recreated those Meet Pete
I saw
signs
that.
from
Yeah.
2009.
I remember. Yeah.
Scattered them up and down the
Yeah,
hallways,
saw 'em
or
all
the highways and stuff, which is amazing.
It was
I remember when Pete
And
first
so-
did that.
yeah,
we were
yeah.
driving in like
2009.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Who's Pete?
Like that was when he introduced himself to the party.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That was only my
Yep.
fifth or sixth French lick.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a while. You know, I wanted to say something that happened to me on the way to the podcast. Actually, I got here 10 minutes early before the podcast. Which, by the way, John Vesmar, Kevin Smith, there's a lot of people. Steve Kellogg, a lot of people helped set this temporary studio up. Can you give them a big round of applause for helping this? This is really. We moved Lockpod from Munster, Indiana to French Lick, so a lot of work went into this.
We won't even tell you the things that aren't going on that we're supposed to. But
Yeah.
right now, it's working pretty
Kevin's
good.
law firm, all the lights are turned off and everything. So anyway, I'm on the elevator coming over here, and I see a friend of mine. I knew her probably in the 2005, 2006, and she was Republican, okay? She was a big Republican operative, and I see her walking around French Lick Weekend. I'm like, hey, it's been a long time since I've seen you. I don't want to name names, okay? But she's like, yeah, I just had it with the Republican Party. I'm so happy to be supported a Democrat. And I'm like, hey, you're welcome to the party that loves women, right? And she was, I tell you what, she was an operative, and now she's an operative on our team. And she's sick and tired of women being attacked. And I say, welcome to the party. We are the Big Tent, right? So let's welcome her to the party.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Mr. Chairman, as you move forward, I know, we sit here on the porch, and yet we're, 80 days away, 80 some days from an election. We're not that far from early vote in those counties that allow early vote at satellite locations. I know in Lake County it starts October 12th. What's the message you want to give to not only Democrats, but to voters that are out there about how important this election is and what we can do to make sure our candidates get elected from the top of the ticket all the way to the bottom?
I think that the message is the Democratic Party in Indiana stands for common sense,
Yeah.
and getting things done for people in their daily lives. And the Republican Party in Indiana is all about extremism and dividing communities and dividing our state.
Yeah.
When I travel around our state, the vast majority of Hoosiers that I talk to, we want the same things. We want the same things when it comes to policies. Responsible gun ownership, a good public education, helping our seniors,
Strong middle class.
strong middle class, supporting our veterans, infrastructure improvements
Sure.
all across our country, combating climate change,
Yeah.
all of these things that this Democratic administration has gotten done.
Yeah.
Joe Biden in the last 2 or 3 weeks has had an unbelievable run legislatively.
The infrastructure bill that just passed is
Yes.
the biggest investment in clean energy in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
And
Inflation, yeah.
and to do it, I think back in 2010 and now in 2022, to do it with a 50-50 Senate where Kamala Harris breaks the tie to push this legislation through is huge. And I think, the Dobbs decision is going to have a huge effect on the ballot box. We have nominated for the first time in our party's history 3 fantastic women for statewide office.
Yeah,
We're
We're all
hear
going to be on the show today.
We're going to hear from them. Yeah, exactly, and Tom. And so I think great
And Tom.
candidates and Tom.
That's
Yeah, the best line for the weekend.
Yeah. It's a joke that never gets old.
And so I think we are delivering, getting things done. Republicans are dividing. We have a great ticket, lots of energy on our side. We have to get out the vote.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, echoing on that, if we don't see long lines at the polling stations, we're not doing our job, Democrats. I mean, we need to get Hoosiers lined up. So the newspaper articles when early voting opens up is overwhelming lines forming. It's going to be a couple hours to vote. That's the kind of stuff we need. It's like the stuff we saw when Barack Obama ran. This is the kind of stuff we need right now. We need Democrats to get people out there and get them to vote. And we win.
Absolutely.
And we changed the maps.
Yep.
We changed Indiana House. We changed the Indiana Senate. We changed the U.S. Senate. We need to get out there and vote.
Okay. Well, listen, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I know you've got a crazy
Thank you.
busy schedule.
Yeah.
I appreciate your handlers getting you on timely and
Three places at once.
That's
Hey,
it.
we're gonna get you on as a guest on the real show when we get
Oh.
back. Also,
Love
Me
it.
too.
Yeah, I'll drive over to the region.
Yes, sir.
You know it.
Thanks, Mike.
Good to see you, Mayor.
Chairman. Give it up for
Thanks. Good to see you,
Indiana
Mayor.
State Democratic Chairman Mike Schmuhl, everybody. Thank you. Who are we bringing on next? All right, let's bring on ZeNai. Hey, ZeNai, what's up?
Bring her in.
ZeNai Brooks, let's go, everybody. Thank you. See you. What's up? Nice to see you.
ZeNai, what's
Brother,
going
that's
on?
right.
Right here.
Thanks.
How are you?
Cheers.
This is exciting.
ZeNai, how's it going? Oh, yeah? Yeah, I like
Is that
that.
Mike?
I'm ZeNai's big
There it
brother
is.
on the campaign trail. Did you know that, Kevin?
I've heard
Thank
that term, and I was discussing with ZeNai, like, so how do you like the term? How is the term Big Brother working?
I like it.
It's working well. We
Right?
got the pushback yesterday, and
I
I
know.
never thought about it, but
So they
I'm
got our hip.
gonna go with it. We
What?
got a runner-up with the 3 women plus Tom,
Yeah, I like that.
but I like Big Brother. We'll stick with that.
I like it. I mean, I'm just trying to be a good, big brother, mentor, role model.
Yes.
Yeah.
So ZeNai
Punching
Brooks
bag.
running for auditor. Really, as we've gotten to know ZeNai on the campaign trail, it's just been more and more impressive on what she brings to the table. She's a CPA. Go figure for an auditor. Why would we want a CPA for? Why wouldn't we want a CPA? There you go. Maybe somewhat
Big
important.
Brother.
But some of the things I
First lady in a big church.
Absolutely. Absolutely, First Lady,
Lady, I didn't get that.
Oh,
I did. Yeah.
Lady CPA,
Lady C.
I'm a
Yeah.
walking
Lady
brand.
CPA. I see that.
By the
Yes.
way, are you going to her other qualification? I recently learned.
Ready?
Allie Brown and you competed against each other.
We
And
We did.
you were D1 athlete for Louisville.
University of Louisville. Got
Wow.
a scholarship. I did three sports in high school: basketball, volleyball, track. And then I ended up getting a track scholarship to University of Louisville,
That's
where I threw,
amazing.
shot put, and hammer.
Wow.
So me and Allie Brown competed in high school in shot put,
That is amazing.
and Allie, that's how she remembers me.
She went to Ball State.
Yeah, she tells people that I beat her all the time. But we did
Well,
some
if you went to
great
Louisville,
friends.
you did something right.
Yeah, I did something. Yeah, it was.
Cardinals.
We competed in college too.
See, you're so humble about that though. The first time I met you, and I was giving you crap about Louisville because you always wearing the colors, and you never said, "Yeah, I played sports."
It's kind of a
there.
big deal.
You were just like, "Yeah."
It's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. That's
Absolutely.
amazing. Do you
I know how to win, and that's what I tell people about this
That's what I
election.
want to hear from my fellow authors.
Yes, we know how to win. People think that we're underdogs. They thought I was an underdog at the University of Louisville. They think we're underdogs in this Democratic race.
They do.
We're going to show them something different.
I like being an underdog. I was a favorite before and I lost, and I sucked being a favorite. Everybody's beating me up all the time. Now I'm the one beating
People
up.
love
I
the
love it.
underdog.
Yeah.
Go figure. Mayor Tom likes beating up versus getting beat up.
I'd
right?
rather beat up than get beaten up. Yeah.
So I was just going to say, I was saying, as we get to know ZeNai more and more, it's just very impressive on your credentials and what you've done in your life. I know that you mentioned your first lady at New Liberty Missionary Baptist Church, where you're married to Pastor Brooks, of course, and I know your faith's an important part of your life. How do you think that has worked into you on the campaign trail?
Part of faith, what I tell people is like we've been community servants my entire life. I grew up in the church. I grew up serving in the church as an usher and just all the things. And now I've grown into more servant leadership. But what we know is that there's the spirit of helping other people, advocating on behalf of people that don't have a voice, advocating on behalf of people that just don't have access to resources, the poor, the sick, the widows. And that's what I bring into this race too. It's the same thing. How can we get money, this $6 billion surplus, back into our communities
Mm-hmm.
to advocate, for people to
So
have
just
health
talking about
care
it.
and food and, just jump right in. You ask the question. So
Yeah.
that's how I've been trying to leverage all of my things, whether it's being a first lady, whether it's being a CPA, whether it's being an author or an athlete, whatever it is, all of those skills are translating.
You're an author as
into
well?
a race. Yeah.
I saw that book on Amazon.
Did you buy it?
I didn't buy it yet, but I was just when I was doing
Kevin,
some
I
research,
asked
I'll
you-
buy it.
Yeah. He's gonna
We're
buy
going to
He's
put it in
one for a
Lockpod
lot.
Studio.
Yeah.
Put it in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
no,
actually, that's what we should do.
Yes.
When it comes to
Get her
Lockpod
up.
Studio, you got to bring one with you.
Okay. I'll
By the
sign it.
way,
Signed.
I was talking about a book that appeared on Lockpod the other day, Mike Leppard's book, Flipping the Circle, and then a random person in the public was talking to me about that book, and I was like, hey, we're on our show.
Well, I like what ZeNai just said about, instead of just talking about the $6 billion they have, how do we get it back? And you said that yesterday when you spoke at the farm to table. You said one of the things as auditor that I want to do is to figure out how we enrich our communities through the money that the state has. And I think that's such a really welcoming and good to hear, right?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing just to say, and the Republicans say this all the time, we've got $6 billion in the bank. We got $6 billion in the bank, but there's
That's
from
the
an
most important
infrastructure.
part. Right. And they just want to talk about it. They don't want to, use it to help people in their quality of
That's
life.
exactly right.
ZeNai, you
We
said
have the money. We just need to give it back to the people that deserve it.
you said something couple of weeks ago that hit me hard, and I told you after. It was when you were in Lake County, and I came up after. I was like, "That's such a great point." You and Jessica both make this point: is if we elect Jessica and ZeNai both as Indiana Auditor and Indiana Treasurer, they'll have 2/3 of the Indiana Board of Finance covered, which means you could demand that money does go back to the community because they can't get anything done without you, right?
Right. That State Board of Finance is basically an extension of the legislator. And so when the legislator who comes up with a budget, approves, sets the plan, then this finance committee approves or denies movement within that money. So right now, everybody's of the same party. There's no checks and balances.
Right.
There's nobody in there standing up to say, hey, this community needs money, like how did we get it here? Or holding the agencies accountable to say, we gave $2 million. What did you do with that? Did that really help people? So that's what me and Jessica being in this role would really be able to
It's
do.
interesting. In a previous life, not a previous life, when I first became mayor, we had
It was the Cabela's.
we had to appear before that State Board of Finance, and it was treasurer, auditor, and who's
State budget director.
state budget director. So the governor's office,
Yep.
treasurer, and
Yep.
auditor cover the three.
Correct.
And if we take 2 out of the 3 spots in November 8th, 2022, then they have to negotiate with Democrats to spend a penny.
Yes.
And I think,
I think that's one of the most important points.
for
you
sure.
can make.
That's one of
Voters don't know that.
They
That's
know.
one of the most important points for Democrats to hear, in my opinion. Why?
Accounting is a thankless profession.
Mhm.
But I think everybody on this porch will agree, if you got an accountant or a CPA or whoever's running your books for your business, that is the most important
Without a doubt.
role.
Yeah.
That's what I'm representing.
I love it, ZeNai. I've heard a lot of campaigns for this office, and when you said that, I was like, that is a brilliant strategy, especially when you were talking in the political room like you were. I think it's a great point.
It's
you
a way
made.
to get people to care, because people are like, why should I care about
That's
this?
right.
You care about this,
That's
because
right.
this is how money is affecting
I totally
us
agree.
in our daily life.
This is how you get people to buy in. It's like, okay, so if I vote for Jessica and I vote for ZeNai, and then they go on that State Board of Finance and they start demanding things from the governor's got to listen to them.
And now we have a voice.
Now you have a voice.
Yeah, I
A
think
voice
that's
for the
important.
people.
I get it. What's it really like campaigning with Mayor Tom? Give us the backstory.
Sheila.
It's fun. He brings energy. I'm an
Yes.
accountant, so I don't always have a high level of energy because I'm very black and white, kind of straight laced. He gives us that energy, so it's good to follow after him. I think he's laying a good path for all of us. So it's been fun so
I
far.
appreciate it. No, I'm super lucky. Honestly, ZeNai, Jessica, and Destiny are a dream team for me. And like I said, I just want to be an asset for them. And, it's awesome to see the 3 of them out there kicking butt, and they are kicking butt. And I'm so proud to be part of it. I'm sorry, ladies, that I screwed up the ticket, but I promise you, when I become a U.S. Senator, I'm going to fight for your rights. I'm going to fight for things that are important to women. It's super important to me, and that's not just BS. Like Todd Young says stuff like that, and he's full of shit. He's full of it, and we all know it. But when I get on there, I'm going to fight for you.
Yeah, you've been a good advocate and ally for sure. So it's been great.
Thank you, ZeNai. I'm
All right.
so happy for you, and
Yeah.
thank you so much for Pastor Brooks coming out here, and thank you so much for doing what you do. And I can't wait to keep campaigning with you. Let's go. Let's get ZeNai elected, everybody. Okay?
Thank you. Thank
ZeNai
you.
Brooks, awesome. Thank you, ZeNai. Thanks, ZeNai. Nice to see you. Who's next?
Yeah.
Oh, want to do ads? Okay, we're going to do ads real quick. This is going to be fast, right?
All right. Read them.
Ron J. Preston Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond, serving all your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide variety of insurance projects and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. Customer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses all over Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron, Ronnie, or Michael at 219-844-0103.
Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. Are you injured or in trouble with the law? Give them a call and schedule your consultation today with somebody who's in court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com.
For those of you that listen to the show, we usually have Tortillas Nuevo Leon song. We don't do it because we don't have it on computer, so Kevin has agreed to sing it today.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wish I could do it. I don't have
Tortillas Nuevo
That's
Leon.
Espanol.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard in Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise. Tortillas Nuevo Leon. All right, let's go.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri has been a leader in the industry for more than 55 years. They're dedicated to assisting their clients with their systems integration needs, John. Tri Electronics has the expertise. Call them at 800-722-6793.
Let's roll into Jessica and we'll
Let's
do
do
the
it.
rest of the ads as the show goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our next Indiana treasurer, Jessica McClellan. Welcome to Lock Pod, Jessica. It's nice to see you.
So
Yeah,
on the
it's
show,
really nice to be here.
this is exciting.
Thanks for having
yes,
me.
absolutely.
Kevin,
Welcome.
Tom, very excited.
Yeah, you know the Vez, right?
Yes. Hey guys.
Jessica, how are you?
Doing
You know what
great.
I love is it's a humid day here in French Lick. Jessica's walking around with chocolate milk. I love that. That's awesome.
Protein.
When you want it, you want the chocolate.
That's right.
I love it.
You can't go wrong with chocolate milk.
No.
So-
Can't go wrong with chocolate milk.
So how's the campaign going, Jessica?
It's going great.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Democrats in Indiana are amazing. I've got family in Illinois and I've got family in California. Very democratic places. I was born a Democrat, raised a Democrat. And now I've been living in Indiana since 1996. And I got to tell you, Hoosier Democrats fight for everything
Love it.
that we believe in, and they fight so hard.
That's
and
right.
that's the most impressive part of this campaign. It's us. We're out there. We're out there fighting for these things that we believe in. But all the Democrats across Indiana are just as passionate as we are.
I agree with you. You know, it's funny, when I first started, I talked to Joe Donnelly before I started this, a guy I love very much. And Joe Donnelly said, what's the worst thing that's going to happen, Mayor? You're going to be in a bunch of great people and you're going to see a beautiful state. And that's so true what
Yeah.
he said to me.
Yeah, he said worst thing that can happen is you're going to know the state like you never knew it before.
Yeah.
And it's happened, right? I'm sure you've seen it too, Jessica, as you
Yeah.
go around the state.
Yeah, I've done, I'm from Bloomington. I live in Bloomington now, so we've done the southern part of the state a lot lately. Those are my hometown people, and we're starting to move up north and get up north a lot more. And yeah,
Not
the
hometown
entire-
people.
Yeah, Tom's hometown people. Yeah, Allen County, Lake County.
You know, one of the things is that this isn't your first run for elected office. I mean,
Right.
you are an elected official as you sit here today. So
Right.
tell us a little
Jessica
bit what
and
you
I
do
are
every
the
day.
veterans on the ticket, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah,
we are, right?
I'm a county treasurer, and I'm on the front lines. I see taxpayers come into the office every day. They come in and pay. And maybe Tom, you know this, when you lead an office, when you're in a leadership position, like the stuff straight down the middle that works just fine, that works the way it's supposed to. That's not where your job is. Your job is on the fringes.
Oh,
when
yeah.
things don't work
Oh,
the
yeah.
way they're supposed to, when people need extra help, that's where you come in. And so what happens in the treasurer's office, it's when people can't pay, when people need help, when people when people have, like, they come to you and every single person has a story. And that's what we do in the treasurer's office.
That's
And it's
awesome.
about collecting taxes, and it's about treating people fairly. And
Awesome. I love that story. I think that's a great story.
thanks. Yeah.
Jessica, how do you-
That's so true. I don't spend my time on
Right,
the easy
micromanaging.
stuff. My time is spent on the difficult problems, right?
Yes, your time is
Well, and you
spent
always
such a
say
good
it,
point.
I've never heard of it that way. It's an excellent way to talk about it.
You always say, I'm not going to micromanage my departments. I'm going to let them do their work. When there's a problem, I'll handle it.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm really good at is I give ownership to, if it's police department, the police leadership runs it. I don't get involved, but if something goes wrong, I'm like, hey, it's
Yeah.
not the mayor making these decisions, right?
Yeah.
The other
Go ahead.
No pressure, guys. I'm like looking
I
at
saw your police chief over there.
Yeah, they're like sweating.
To talk about me more and what I do, since
Yeah.
I'm on
Yes.
the podcast. Thank
Listen
you very
up,
much with my
yeah.
chocolate milk. Very happy to be here. Again, another cool thing that I do is I'm one of 92 county treasurers, so I get to talk to 92 other treasurers, and most of them are Republicans. And I got to tell you, we're all working. When you get in elected office, it's not about do you pay your taxes with Democrat money or Republican money.
Exactly.
Everybody pays their taxes.
Exactly.
And everybody deserves to be treated equally. And we work together, all 92 county treasurers, we work together whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. And that's what Hoosiers want. They want elected officials that are really working for Hoosiers no matter who you are.
You know what's funny, Jessica? I bet you if I walked across, even in French Lake right now, there's a lot of political operatives. I bet you most people couldn't name the Indiana treasurer right now.
Right.
That person makes no effort whatsoever to get involved. It's
Right.
just fine. And you're out here busting your butt, going to meetings, going out in the community. It's just a wonderful thing to see. It really is.
I don't want to put you on the spot, John, but do you want to try to name the Indiana treasurer?
My mic is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right. I mean, seriously. You're
No, I think
Out a little bit.
And that's kind of that was a question I wanted to follow up with Jessica. Is what are you going to bring from what you've learned as treasurer of Monroe County to state office?
The Indiana State County Treasurer is term limited, so she's not going to be running again this year. So I'm running for an open seat. And something that the state treasurer can do is bring a lot of financial literacy back to Hoosiers. We can also help bring more dollars back to Indiana counties and to local governments. I think that's one of the, other than what ZeNai was talking about as being 2/3 of the State Board of Finance, what the treasurer's office can do
is help cities, schools, towns, fire districts, and counties invest their money and make more money off of the dollars that they're collecting. So we have a local government investment pool. It's called Trust Indiana. That needs to be ramped up. I know from being a county treasurer that not all counties are utilizing it. So I mean, and that's what's really going to help Hoosiers is we're going to get their communities the extra dollars that they need to get that extra push over the finish line to get a project. And it might be a small project, but every single dollar counts. And Hoosiers know that their taxes go up $15 or $30, and they're calling me. They're like, my taxes went up. What happened?
Good. Yeah.
And so everything we can do to get more money into those communities, and I can help do that.
I'm sure.
That's great.
Can I ask you a question about the campaign though?
Yeah.
Any surprises on the road? Like you went someplace and you were like, your mind was blown? That's because I mean seriously, I know you've seen parts of the state, and I never admit I've never been someplace before. And believe me, I haven't been to every corner, but every time I come to your county, it's like great to be back to insert location, right? Great to be back to French Lick, right? So what part of the state when you've been to is like, wow, this is gorgeous.
My gosh! Every place I've been in the state has been gorgeous and amazing.
Of course.
Every
Good answer.
The state is beautiful.
Good answer.
Every part of the
yeah,
state is gorgeous. True.
I love the mountains, but I'm also kind of a flatlander at heart, and so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I live in southern Indiana, and I love the hills and the trees. But when I get out into those open cornfields, and I just feel like I can see 50, 60 miles in the distance, and the sun is setting.
It's been around.
Oh, man. And it's like gravel roads off into the cornfield, and I know there's a state fair down there somewhere. A county fair down there somewhere.
There's a pork tenderloin in your future.
Yes.
Right. Jessica, so it's so funny to hear you say that because Marissa and I did a southern swing. We don't get down south as often as you for sure. And we had the convertible, and we were going through the Hoosier National Forest. I was like, this place is so gorgeous.
So gorgeous.
Such a pretty state.
Yeah, God's country.
I know.
It's amazing.
I love it. I feel really lucky, and I keep thinking about Joe's words to me. You're going to meet a bunch of great people for sure. He was right about that, and you're going to see a gorgeous state. I'm telling you, man, this is a beautiful state. I'm super lucky, and I know you are as well. Feel so blessed to be the nominee, right?
Yep. Yes.
Well,
I can't believe we get to do this.
And you're such a great person. You're so smart. You and ZeNai are going to be such an awesome team. I'm excited. Can't wait to vote for you. Can't wait to raise money for you. Can't wait to do everything I can to help you.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
It's been incredible running with you. It's really great to have you as a team.
We're a good team. We are a good team. So,
Jessica, thanks for coming on Lockpod.
Let's give it up for Jessica McClellan, our next senator. Yay! Let's do that. Thanks. All right, I'm gonna start cranking out some ads, and we'll get a Destiny ad. You want to bring Destiny out right now?
You got a Destiny ad.
You got to go, don't you? Yeah. Come on. Let's give it up for Destiny Scott Wells. We'll do. I know you got a place to be. Nice to see you, Destiny.
No, the next thing on my schedule.
Second time on Lockpod.
Second, she did French Lick last year, and she did a show with us. It's her third time on Lockpod.
Yeah, my feet didn't touch the floor last year.
Yeah. How are they doing this year?
They're getting longer, I think.
I think so too.
Destiny is. She just recently overtook me in the number of Twitter followers.
And she let you know about it.
She let me know about it as
immediately.
well. Yeah. But I mean, she is such a dynamic, amazing candidate. She's going to be our next Secretary of State. She's a great friend, and you basically announced last year at French Lick as well.
No, I didn't.
Well, I mean, you were working towards
No,
it.
I didn't. Secretary of State? I don't think so.
So you're right. So I met Destiny.
Now we're hearing it.
No. I tell you what, something that's amazing about Destiny. Destiny and I have known each other for about a year because I met you last year.
I met you under the dome.
Yeah, and Destiny came up to me and I said I'm running for Senate because I started talking about it.
And I was like, you met me yesterday.
And yeah, that is true. You can't count Thursdays though. Thursdays in French, like nothing should count against you on Thursday. But she said something to me that was very prescient. You said there's this Supreme Court case out there called Dobbs that's going to turn America upside down, and you're going to be on the ballot when this goes down. And I was like, that's amazing. I'm going to go check this Supreme Court case called Dobbs out. Destiny was the one that told me about it, and that's fact. And you were so far ahead of the game, Destiny, on that. Like, you literally told me America's going to change, and you're going to be on the ballot as the Senate nominee.
Yeah.
True story?
It's a true story. I had it.
It is
I
a true
appreciate
story.
it. I had it on a PowerPoint slide in August of last year,
Wow.
Dobbs v. Jackson, and it said, this will determine the 2022 midterm. And I was peddling this PowerPoint, being like, Please listen to me. The sky is falling. I know you don't realize it yet.
I will
But
back it
it's-
up. She was the one, and
Yeah.
I was like, Dobbs, I'm going to check that out when I get back. And
And here we are.
now Dobbs, everybody knows Dobbs. You go to, anywhere in Indiana and ask them what Dobbs is, and they'll tell you what's going on. And you were talking about it a year ago. Dustin.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up with Destiny is since we've had her on the podcast last time, she's been nominated to be the Democratic nominee to the Secretary of State. The Republicans have nominated somebody that's totally extreme. I know that this is an important point for you. I've heard you on the campaign trail talk about it, and I want to hear it on Lockpod now on what is shaped up to be, in your opinion, the issue of the campaign.
Because you have a tendency to go down the abortion road and then people want to know what that has to do with Secretary of State. And so I'm letting that it's a symptom. It's a symptom of what is the main issue. And the main issue is, unfortunately, it's gerrymandering. And so what we're messaging is voter turnout. So our message, and I think that's the main issue,
Yeah.
Kevin, is that Indiana, we've been saying it since the beginning, Indiana is not a red state. It is a purple state with a voter turnout problem.
I love that line. Destiny.
That's great.
Destiny coined that line. It's a really good line. And it's very, very true, by the way.
I think maybe Shelley Yoder said a version of it,
Did
and
she?
I was
Okay.
like, that sounds
Let's give it up for Senator
That
Yoder
sounds
also.
beautiful.
Come on.
Because we can't do anything about gerrymandering right now, and we're living through the fallout of it. Because people say, well, Secretary of State race is exempt from gerrymandering because it's a statewide, or U.S. Senate race is exempt from gerrymandering as a statewide. That's not true because it directly affects voter turnout.
Mhm.
We're all living that
Yeah,
in our
absolutely.
candidacies.
Absolutely.
And so we have to start, we've been doing a lot of voter education because voters didn't realize that we are 46th in the nation in registered voter turnout.
Wow.
And, while everybody on this porch in 2020 was probably running to cast their ballot because of the presidential, 1.6 million registered Hoosiers didn't vote.
And that's a presidential year.
That's a presidential
In
year.
midterms, it's usually even more.
Right. And so,
try municipal election cycle.
Yeah, even worse.
When you're voting for your mayor, which is one of the more important offices, I'd like to think.
well, so it's educating voters that they still have agency at the ballot box, but that you have to exercise that agency, or you don't get to determine your future, right? And so, yes, I have a very unique first name, and at first I was like, well, let's just go Destiny Scott Wells, and then I can lean into the patriarchy, and we'll just put Scott Wells on all my signs, and they'll think a dude is running for Secretary of State. But we realized, halfway through the campaign that we weren't landing with the people we needed to, and that is the people who are not turning out to vote or who are not registering. So everything is vote your destiny.
Oh, yeah, I saw the shirts. They look awesome.
I was thinking about changing my name to Destiny, actually. It's so effective.
Wow.
I
Then
was
it won't be as
thinking-
unique.
I was
Destiny
thinking
Matthew
yesterday, because you were talking about how it's the women and Tom, and I was like, well, let's just make Tom an honorary woman.
I would
There
do
you
that. I'd be down.
Honorary woman
It might be a full
2022.
woman.
I'd have to shave my legs for sure, right off the bat.
It's up to you. It's really
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to try it out.
Um,
Well, no, I
I'll
just
swim
mean,
faster that way.
look, because it is the year of the, it is the year of the woman.
It is the early
But it's the year of not only the woman, it's the year of pregnant Hoosiers, it's the year of women's rights, and it's the years of those people who support us. And so I appreciate your
I do
support
that.
on the trail this year.
I appreciate your support on the trail. Honestly, I feel very blessed to have the three of you running with me. I'm like, we see each other so often on the campaign trail, and you guys are all so awesome. Like, each of you is so dynamic and amazing. I'm proud. We're gonna have a clean sweep, and it's gonna be a historic year. 2022 Indiana Democratic Party. We're gonna have a clean sweep, and we're doing such a great job. And I just want to say thank you, Destiny. It's great to have you with me. I mean,
one of the things you guys talked about last year, the two of you talked about, was being two veterans on the ballot.
yeah.
And I know that Destiny still is. Are you on reserve duty still?
So yeah, and funny story. I actually stepped off the trail last month to go do my annual training. I'm an Army Reserve Lieutenant Colonel. I teach with the Army Command and General Staff College, and our comms director, which we have the same one, was like, "Hey, I may have exposed you to COVID, right?"
Oh no.
And so when I got there, I was like, not trying to be dramatic. Think I probably have COVID. Not feeling well, kind of
Oh, no.
achy. So I spent 8 days in Army building they would like leave things outside my door, and I had COVID, and I just like all I could think of was I hate this government mattress. It's awful.
And your husband Oliver is off serving right now, right?
Right, and so we're both lieutenant colonels. We met in the military. It took me 13, 14 years to come around to him and marry him. And so he's going to be here tonight because he's fulfilling his training, and we have a toddler who's potty training. So we're juggling a lot right now.
You're doing great though, and you bring your son on the trail a lot. And I know Oliver's on the trail a lot with you. You guys are a great team, and I think Hoosiers like to see that, Dustin. They really do. I think when you show up with your family and you're like incorporating your family in the campaign, super smart. People could relate to it. Everybody's raising families, so like all these voters, they love you for it.
Well, I appreciate. I've had women come up and say, like, "Can you please lean into that?
I
Like,
agree.
can you just bring him?" And I'm like, I understand, but like at the same time, I like leaving him at grandma's and grandma's sometimes.
Grandma's good babysitter.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Keep running hard. I know we're going to see you all over the state. And
I already see her all over the state.
We see each other all the time. High five.
We do.
passing.
Seriously, we always it's
We're
so
very-
funny. Like we all run into each other just randomly. It's so cool. That's one of the nice things about running statewide.
Keep
I
an eye on
know
her Twitter
she's
following.
working so much harder than her opponent. We're not going to mention her opponent's name, but Destiny's outworking the guy. She's a smarter person. She's just better representative for 6.6 million people that live in Indiana.
And I want to announce it here, and I've been telling it around. We started talking about this weekend. Is that we are in a toss-up. And I mean, for a Democrat statewide, that's awesome, right? This time of year, because it is only getting worse for the far right Republican through November.
I think, honestly, I predict this, Destiny. Right now, you may be calling it a toss-up, but on election day, the thing that the pollsters aren't accounting for is the thousands and thousands of extra Hoosier women that are going to show up and vote that you hardly ever voted before that are just totally plugged in now because of what's going on with their reproductive rights. And that's the thing. It's going to be like Indiana is going to look like Kansas looked a couple weeks ago, where that's what we're going to look like here on November 8th, 2022. So let's give it up for our next Secretary of State, Destiny Southwell. Thank you, Destiny. Thanks, Destiny. It's great to see you. All right, let's start cranking out some ads.
Ads, and we got Mayor Clint coming up.
All right.
Mike
Mayor
Andrade.
Clint, this is the second time on Lockpod, so let's start getting these ads out. Powering America. Oh, good union ad right off the bat. Lake County Electricians Training Center is seeking applications for the electrical apprenticeship program. If you're a person who enjoys working with your hands in a challenging environment, the electrical apprenticeship might be for you. Mayor Clint's always liked the Powering America commercial. So, stud. Nice to see you, Miss Mayor.
You said mayor was an important office, so we had to get Mayor
The
Clint.
apprenticeship provides tuition-free education and paid on-the-job training. Successful applicants will be drug-free, hardworking, and looking to make a long-term commitment. To learn more about the apprenticeship, please visit www.apply697.com.
Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and under budget. Misprint's experience in technology allows them to offer custom, commercial, on-demand printing and sign solutions. Rick Baltenberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. They have 2 convenient locations to serve you in Munster and Hammond and make great metal business cards.
Calumet Brewery, we welcome you to try it. Michelob Ultra. This is a good French Lick commercial. From Calumet Brewery to everybody in French Lick listening, they welcome you to try Michelob Ultra. I think that's served here in French Lick. If you were wondering what Michelob Ultra was, it's a superior light beer brewed for those who understand that it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Contains only 95 calories, so you can drink lots of them, okay? 2.6 carbs and a
Please drink
4.2
responsibly.
Yes, but you can drink lots of it and not put on extra weight. That's the beautiful thing about this Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra is a light lager brewed with the perfect balance of hope and is that hope? Sorry.
After 6 or 7, you're going to have a lot of hope.
It is brewed with hope. Brewed with hope and wholesome grains, by the way. Producing a light citrus aroma and a crisp, refreshing finish. Check out our social media for details on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly. Yes.
All right.
Michelob Ultra.
Let's get Mayor Clint on.
I need some glasses.
Yeah, you do.
And
And the
You
words-
got your sunglasses on.
In the words of Ric
Glasses.
Flair, woo!
Mayor, let's give it up for Mayor Clint Lamb from Sullivan, everybody.
Thank you very much.
So hot fun with the live studio audience. Isn't that great?
A live studio audience and all the fine folks back in the city of Sullivan.
That's right.
Shout
Hi,
out to
Sullivan.
you. Thanks for
Hey, Sullivan,
tuning
Indiana.
in today.
By the way, Sullivan, Indiana. Hit it on the campaign trail. Went to a grand opening of a brand new pool in Sullivan, and there's literally 400 people in the pool. It was
And it was a
amazing.
reopening of the pool,
It
which
was-
I think was such a great story.
But the reopening, this pool was built in the 1960s,
1963.
and it's like old school. And so, like a lot of people nowadays, a lot of mayors would just knock that stuff down. Some mayors
We're fill that in.
fill it in. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. No, we're building that pool in Hammond. But anyway, Mayor Clint built onto that, and it's like retro. When you get in there, it is so cool.
Yeah, I think
love
one of the things about the pool, and I wanted to bring it up today with Mayor and have him explain, is the financing of it, because it's a great story about what the Democratic president all the way down through the state to the mayor of Sullivan have done to use those dollars for effective things that really impact the community. So Mayor Clint, tell us how that got funded.
We're making a splash, right? We're making a splash in
you
Sullivan.
were working
That-
on
no, that's the
that
marketing campaign.
was not natural.
Jamie, come up with
He's like, we're
that.
gonna talk this on the show.
I'm gonna do this.
Came up with that.
Hey, should I turn this way?
We're gonna make a splash.
Yeah, no, that was our campaign. It was our marketing, the Splash Sullivan campaign. It's exactly what we did. It kind of started back in it all started in 1963, as you alluded to, where a community came together. I think it's very important. The city of Sullivan didn't build the Sullivan City Pool in 1963. The residents of the community stepped up, business leaders, volunteers, churches, pastors, friends and neighbors, whatever. They all came together and they said, we want to invest in the quality of life in our community. And that's what we do in Hammond, right? That's what we do in Sullivan. That's what mayors are doing all across the state of Indiana and all over the country for that matter. But the residents came together. It was designed to be a 25-year pool. Now, I'm not the best at math, but 1963,
88.
that thing should have been done in 1988, right, according to the original engineers. But the community kept together. We Band-Aid and Band-Aid and Band-Aid like we do a lot of things. And then years later, mayors have to just come out and clean some of that stuff up, right? The community has to come back together.
Or fill it in.
Or fill it in.
Right.
So in 2017, the city park board had to make a tough decision. It was literally unsafe, right? Pool attendance had started to decline for different reasons. Maybe it's travel soccer, kids doing everything. But it was a dilapidated infrastructure, just like we see in our bridges and our roads. The city pool was no different, right? So we had to make that unpopular decision back in 2017, thinking we're going to regroup. We're going to look for ways to invest in our community, our quality of life. And then, I don't know if you got the memo, we kind of went through a pandemic thing for a couple of years, which kind of delayed. So 4 to 5 years, right, our city did not have a pool, right? No place for the kids to go, and not just kids, the senior citizens doing their water aerobics, the parents, anybody coming together, coming out to the pool. So unfortunately, it had to close down. But because of a committed team of individuals, and this is what I love. I think I told you this before we went on the show. This is bipartisan, and they didn't even know it, right? So it's proof that it can happen. Starting with the American Rescue Plan, right? The American Rescue Plan, and big shout out to Congressman Frank and Congressman Andrade, right?
The only 2 congressmen with any sense in the state of Indiana, quite frankly, right? We sent 11 people to Washington, D.C. to take $8 billion from Washington, D.C. back to Indiana, and only 2 of our 11 representatives voted for it. That's Congressman Andre Carson and Congressman Frank Morvan. Let's give it up to those 2. For bringing $8 billion home back to Indiana.
Sure, that's exactly right. So it starts that. I definitely wanted, for the record, to shout out to them. And I've got to be fair to the Holcomb administration for acknowledging that quality of life is important, right? Because that's what mayors have been saying for
Mayor
years.
Clint, the reason the Republican Party doesn't like Governor Holcomb is because the Democrats actually don't hate him as much. Honestly, he actually, in my opinion, I'm not doing a Holcomb commercial, but I think he actually tries to listen to all sides. And a guy like Todd Young doesn't want to listen to all sides. He just listens to half the population. But I think Governor Holcomb attempts. I'm not saying he does. I think he attempts.
He acknowledges the quality of life.
When I complimented the guy, it was like, geez.
No, but it's okay. But it's the truth. We got to be honest, right? We got to be transparent and say, look, it started with the American Rescue Plan. The state took those funds, and they're ready, right? And now ready, the city of Sullivan, our West Central region.
But you know what Ready is?
Rescue Plan money.
It's ARP money.
Right.
I know, but
It's the American Rescue.
I know, but
I'm connecting the dots here, I promise. It's all going to come back. It's all going to come back.
I got all messed up. I'm like, Ready, Grants, goddamn.
Yeah, American Rescue Plan, converted into Ready, whatever you want to call it. And then several of our local county officials that a couple years ago made the tough decision that they had to raise their local income tax to be the state average because I believe the county was wanting to build a jail. They had to raise that to some degree, and then, of course, cities and towns, with the way it's calculated, we were a beneficiary of that. So all of these things had to hit, right? American Rescue Plan had to hit. Quality of life projects had to be at the top of the forefront, and then some local dollars coming in as
It was
well.
amazing.
So that's where I'm piecing this whole thing down together. And it literally, for the Sullivan City Pool, it literally took both sides, but you're correct, it started with the American Rescue Plan. Then, as far as locally, we started raising money with our individuals, with our citizens, with our churches, just like they did back in 1963. It became a community rally. We weren't just building a pool, we were establishing an outdoor venue for the entire region, right? Not the region, okay? I know you guys are from the region.
I know Mayor Clint comes up to the region.
The
Right.
region.
We like to have you up there.
You
But
travel a lot. I mean, in a good way. I think it's good. And I mean, totally being complimentary. When you get out as a mayor and you see what other cities are doing, you bring the good ideas home. Like
We're spies, right?
Exactly.
We go around
We're
the
spies,
state.
and you take the best ideas and you bring it back
Right.
home.
We don't want to be, Sullivan doesn't need to be just like New Albany or
Right.
just like Richmond or just like, but you take bits and pieces and then
Yeah.
you make the best Sullivan that you
Yeah.
can possibly make,
Absolutely, man.
right?
Well,
Well, that's exactly what you do.
And Mayor Clint's from the 8th District. And the 8th District is, believe it or not, 21 counties. It's on the west side of the state. It goes from Fountain County, which is almost more than halfway up, all the way down to the Ohio River, Evansville, Terre Haute. Something you told me just on Thursday, which I didn't realize, is there's, I think, 9 Democratic mayors in the 8th District.
And then I was corrected. I was told 11.
11
Yeah.
Democratic mayors in the 8th District, which is interesting because you consider it kind of a rural, more
You're
rural,
right.
more red
Isn't
area,
it
right?
interesting? If you look on a presidential map, that whole area would be red. But if you look at the people running the cities, like Mayor Gann in New Albany, Mayor Kale
Boonville.
from Tulsa
City,
right?
Charlotte,
I mean, they're
Boonville.
Democratic mayors, but like
Washington,
presidential
Princeton,
map is all red. But that gives me hope when I'm down there. I feel like people are listening.
Well,
When I go down and talk on along the Ohio River, I feel like people are showing up and listening. They're not dismissing me. And that's the most encouraging thing. Like when you're on the road and people are plugged in, they're like, okay, I'll listen to this guy. He's a Democrat, but I want to listen to him.
Well, I think they
Give me a shot, man. That's all I'm saying.
And Mayor, you said mayors get things done, and I thought when Mayor Clint told me, and this is another amazing statistic that he told me on Thursday about something, because I think when people see that they're electing somebody that gets something done for them, they want it. Tell me what did President Trump do in Sullivan?
President Trump is very popular.
What was his percentage?
At least 75%, give or take a couple percentages. That's in 2016
So how does
and
the
in 2020.
So how does a Democrat repeatedly win in Sullivan if President Trump's carrying it by 75%, Mayor Clint?
Well, first and foremost, it's about municipal elections and municipal years, and it's just about delivering results to the American people and to your citizens of your community. At the end of the day, we can talk logistics, we can talk policy, we can do all these things, but it really is emotion. It really is emotional. Are you going to be a champion? I said this last year on the show, and you were the one when I first ran for office. You said, at the end of the day, be the champion of your community.
That's exactly it.
Because we've said
That's
before,
exactly
there
it.
is no Democrat or Republican way to push snow. There's no Democrat or Republican way to pick up trash. There's no Democrat or Republican way to reopen a city pool that was built in 1963 to refurbish and revitalize. At the end of the day, I'm pro-Sullivan. We hear pro-choice, we hear pro-life. Are you pro this? Are you pro-gun? I'm pro-Sullivan. You're pro-Hammond.
Yes, sir.
And you're pro every single city and town across the Hoosier State.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what mayors do. When we go to a mayor's conference, right? Do you know who's sitting next to you, what party they are, unless you go in the bathroom and Google them?
I do that.
And we have done that.
I do.
It's got a whole handy list.
No,
Like a quarterback has the
We're
plays.
surrounded by mostly Republican mayors, quite frankly, right? When we're in a room like that.
Right.
I mean,
There's 122 mayors in the
but-
state,
and the
40
mayor-
of these.
Right.
Right.
But every mayor is so cool to each other, and so
It's awesome.
By
It's
the way,
great.
want to know what kind of guy he is? Mayor Clint is the president of the Indiana Mayors Association for sure, but you're president of IAC.
AIM, yes,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Accelerating Indian
IAC is
Municipalities,
really-
formerly known as IAC. Yeah, and I'm proud of it.
So
I
all the
appreciate
cities
it.
and towns in Indiana, all the council people, all the clerk treasurers, they go to this event called AIM, and they elect one person president. And Mayor Clint is the
That's
president
awesome,
of
Mayor.
that. Statewide, right?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
All right, Mayor Clint. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
buddy. We're gonna have one more. We can't not have Mike Andrade on because we got to have a legislative person on our show.
But
Then we're gonna wrap.
Mayor
it up.
Clint is doing such a great job at Sullivan. It's great to have the president of AIM here. It's great to have a good friend of mine, a guy I've known since the day he walked into office. He's such a refreshing guy. Let's give it up for Mayor Clint.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. All
All
right.
right, I'll crank out Byway Brewing.
Yeah, let's get
and,
Joey
Labs.
And
Mike,
we're-
let's go.
You had your shot.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and an outside patio. Their brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for their private events like weddings, reunions, or corporate parties. They're conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on in by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu. For more information, check out bywaybrewing.beer. What? Bywaybrewing.beer?
Not beer, yep.
That's not an actual website, right?
That's it. That's it.
Dot beer? Is
Not
that what it is?
beer.
Dot
All right.
beer.
Bywaybrewing.beer. Sounds shady to me, but check it out. All right.
Last but not least, Joey likes Salinas, and I know Joey's got some great photos of French Lick. He's been taking photos of every city and town throughout Indiana. With more than 400 cities and towns captured, Joey's photos can be purchased or licensed for commercial use. Enjoy a piece of Indiana in your home or office, or browse through the cities and towns that have already been captured. Visit indianaphotos.com and find your city. Joey can also be followed on Facebook or Instagram at Joey Lax, that's L-A-X, Salinas, at Joey Lax Salinas. Thanks for our
All right.
sponsors.
I want to say to the people that are still watching after this whole show is gone, you're officially a fan of Lockpod. If you're still with us after this long, you got to follow us. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube, iHeart. We're on Tinder. You know, all that
Let's
stuff.
get through it. I don't think we're on Tinder.
Blender, Grinder.
Yeah, all of them.
On all
We're
of
on
them.
all of them. We're on all of them. You can follow us. We're on
Stitcher.
stuff. Stitcher?
Stitcher.
Also. Stitcher.
It's Stitcher.
Okay. So anyway,
A lot of
Representative
followers
Mike
on
Andrade.
Stitcher.
Let's get it up for Representative Andrade, everybody.
All the way down to French Lick on the porch to get him on the show.
I just made a special trip just for this.
I like your shirt.
Trying to keep up with you.
It's
man.
solid.
You always
It's
have
a
the,
solid-
You always wear the cool ones.
I wear the really flashy ones.
The
But
lemon
anyway,
lime.
Representative Andrade, this is probably your third or fourth visit to the show.
Oh, at least.
At least, and usually we're drinking tequila when he's here. Today, thankfully, we're not.
Fresh off
Little
a
coffee.
special session
I could bring
that you probably didn't. In fact, you know this wasn't scheduled because he had a fundraiser in the middle of the special session that he had to brunch back for.
So you
just
guys
to
are
make-
allowed to do that,
I had my
obviously.
annual golf outing.
Yes, we're talking about it on the air.
Annual golf outing, so we didn't know.
So good. Hey, Zach's got to
Yeah,
get
we
it.
were gonna get. Well, they moved the date 3 times.
Yeah.
Originally, we were supposed to go in June, so I
Oh,
canceled
the
my
special
vacation
sessions, but
to be for the special sessions. And then a week later, we get a memo from the Speaker of the House saying, "Oh, now it's July 6th," and then we end up moving our vacation again. And then 2 days prior to that, oh, now it's going to be at the end of July. And it was my annual golf outing, but it was a very difficult moment.
you know,
We're heartbroken still. It's devastating what our state is doing.
I was at a legislative breakfast this morning with Representative Pack, Senator Yoder, and Representative Bauer on the panel with Chairman Schmuhl, and it was powerful, man. Kevin, you didn't make it to that, did you?
No.
I tell you what, it hit me hard. Just like listening to how the ladies were talking about how it went in the last special session. That had to be so tough for you, right, Representative?
It was very, very stressful, challenging. I think all the legislators who voted against the bill, like myself, we just could not sleep. It was very difficult those 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks were just unbelievable difficult for us, something that I've never experienced before. The testimonies of women coming to the State House and saying, "You're here to take our freedom away."
How about
To make a
the
decision.
women? How about the women that couldn't talk? They wanted to talk to, and they were just like,
Yes.
"No, sorry, we don't have time to listen to your testimony."
It was just one
What?
testimony. I
We're
mean,
in a hurry here. Half of our population is being stripped of their liberties.
we normally take 4 months on a regular budget session
Think
to
about
go
that.
through budgets.
Right?
4 months. And we decide that in 2 weeks,
Right, 11 days.
we're going to work on this horrible bill.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Listening to the panel this morning, something that hit home for me is Senator Yoder was killing it this morning, and she was talking about how women only have their civil liberties in Indiana if they're raped or through cases of incest. And that was
Good
it's
point.
so brutal to hear it.
Good point.
It's so brutal to hear it, but it's like so true. It's like women only get treated like men with the same civil liberties if they get raped in Indiana, and that's so brutal. But it was very impactful to hear that. this
It
morning.
was.
I think first off, Representative Pack, Representative Bauer, Senator Yoder. I thought this morning's legislative session was dramatic and just impactful, and I just appreciate those ladies so much. I think they're doing such a great job for Hoosiers. But this morning, and that's the thing. A lot of people think French Lick IDA weekend is all fun. And let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. Okay, but we do actually a lot of work too, and I thought those three killed it this morning. It was such a good panel. So
We have great women legislators in the State House. I'm very proud to be their colleague. You just mentioned Representative Pack and Bauer. They both came in the same year that I did in 2020.
yeah,
We're part of that fraternity of freshman legislators that came out in 2020.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the Democratic caucus is now majority women, is that right?
Yes.
Are you agree with that?
Democratic caucus.
really, I didn't know that.
Yes.
So that's something.
I gotta say something about the last day of session, which was the third reading on the bill.
Uh-huh.
I got up and spoke in the chamber, and I said something like this: we all have women in our lives that we love, whether they are our spouses, mothers, teachers, family, a friend, or neighbor. We love them unconditionally, but we cannot love them if we vote to take away their freedom to make their own decisions. I believe in a woman's right to have the freedom to make her own decisions. A woman's choice should not be decided by the government, but rather by her doctor, family, faith, and most importantly, herself. I do not possess the knowledge or the ability or the expertise to make a decision on behalf of 3.4 million women in our Hoosier state. But I will continue to fight. I will continue to advocate for the rights of all Hoosier women in our state.
That's great. So as you sit here kind of in an election year, I know you're running again, of course, thank goodness, because you're a great state rep for us up in the region. And your election's in November, and you're running hard, and you're going to win.
Yeah,
We're going to win. One of the very first things when I first ran, and Mayor Thomas, a dear friend of mine, he's always been great in speaking positive into your life. I cannot forget, early in the primary, he would tell me, Mike, you're a winner, you're going to win. You're doing great. Keep it up.
Yep.
And we're going to win because we're winners.
Mike,
We
it's not
have
bad,
to
Mike.
win because this state depends on us to win as Democrats.
Mike.
Because we're the ones that deliver for our Hoosiers.
I would bet.
We have to win.
I would bet $1,000 that you're going to win. Okay, and I'm not that.
Not that
wealthy.
you can
Well,
bet on
since
it.
I'm just.
he wants to bet, let's raise it up.
$1,000 is a lot of money to that. I just want you to know, like, I am banking on you winning. Hoosier women are banking on you women. The region, like, you want to send your best to Indianapolis. Mike, I really consider you up there with one of the best legislators in the state of Indiana. And there's so many good legislators in the state of Indiana. But he was my rep for a while, and they gerrymandered him out of my district, which is unfortunate. But I still support him because this guy goes back to work. And a lot of people you see when they're out of session, they just sort of check out. This is not the way Representative Andrade works. Representative Andrade busts his ass, even in the off cycle. And so special session to him was nothing because he's already working, right? I feel Indiana's so lucky to have you. And then the guy you're running against, I'm not going to mention his name. He's the worst of the worst. He is the biggest Trumper. He's the biggest right-wing nut. He's like, if we send this guy to Indianapolis to represent the region, he will reinforce all the bad stereotypes about the Republican Party that you have. He's the worst. Mike Andrade's got to win. So it's important to the people listening to this race. We need to donate to Mike. We need to support Mike. And you may not live in his district, but if the guy that's running against Mike wins, he's the worst of the worst. He doesn't care how his constituents feel. He'll do anything he can to reinforce the Trump agenda. And Mike, I'm all in with you, but you're the best.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hey,
Appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
want to get my campaign manager here.
Yeah.
See him behind us. Thank you, Representative. Give it up for Mike Andrade, everybody. Thanks, brother.
Thanks for coming on. Thank you.
Look at you.
in the line of fire.
Well, you're sitting behind us. So, hey, everybody, let's get it up for Zach Brown, the campaign manager for McDermott for Indiana. I bet you when you first got hired by McDermott for Indiana, you thought you were going to be hired as the captain of the Titanic. Something along that.
They wanted to make sure the first paycheck went through.
Yeah, you guys got money, right? Before I get on. Dude, Zach and I, honestly, a year ago, we didn't really even know each other, right? Isn't that weird?
It is weird. It is weird. Because now I feel, especially after watching so many episodes of Lock On,
It's a good way to get to know your
I feel
candidate.
like I know you pretty damn well.
Honest to God, the first 2 weeks
be the
I
homework
work for us, he's
episode.
like,
Oh,
I gotta
homework
listen to
assignment.
every episode. He wants to know the damage that's out there.
Yeah,
Todd
exactly.
Young is listening to
I
this
know, that's
stuff.
the thing, right? Yeah, half of it's I want to get to know him a little bit better. Also, I need to know
Yeah,
what he
what
said
stupid
before.
shit you said in the past.
It's easy opposition research. You just have to subscribe to the podcast.
That's
Subscribe. By the way, can I say that real quick? If you're listening to Lockbox still, you're totally a fan. subscribe to us. I know I said this already, but yeah.
I
Especially
met
the
a fan
Brussels
earlier,
area.
and she said to me, number one, she's a big fan of the pod. She said, I said, how do you watch it? She said, Facebook. She said, but don't worry, I'm going to now subscribe, and that's important. We
It is.
So she's from Belgium?
you know what? I didn't ask. I should have asked
You
her.
should have asked.
We end on it, by the way. We did all right.
Is it-
No,
Ghana?
mid '80s in Ghana. So.
Yeah. But anyway, so Zach, how's it going with the campaign?
I think it's going all right. You tell
Have
me.
you, no, I mean, first off,
I don't know.
I think it's.
I have
going
no
all
idea.
right.
Seems to be going okay.
so ridiculous. Like, okay, he makes me
No clue. How's it going?
Yeah.
You gotta be a hype man too.
Yeah. Zach, how's it going? He's like, my
This
kid's
is a transformation.
No idea.
like, that's the worst. If I had a decent candidate, we'd be kicking ass right now. Right? No, honestly, like, one of the things when Zach and I first met, I say this so often, is when Zach first met me, he's like, dude, if we're going to win this race, it's because we're going to lean into Tom McDermott.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like, you're my freaking guy, dude.
Well,
'Cause,
we've
like,
been able to do that. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's been times I think where we've had some discussions where
I'm like,
maybe
dude.
we didn't let Tom be full Tom. But
so I get back to Zach sometimes. That's words that have haunted him. 'Cause
yes,
he's
yes.
like, dude, you know, you
I
need
heard
to,
it like 3 days ago. I think.
you need to think about this. I'm like, you said you're going to lean into Tom McDermott, man. He's like, God, I should have never said
Yeah,
that.
it's been
word."
great for Tom.
Those
I
words
feel like
are-
you told me I could be myself.
Yeah, I could be an asshole when I want to be an asshole. That's the way I read it. But
Never.
I don't feel the same cussing on the the patio.
It's hard to
I
do
can
that.
tell you're holding back a little
I
bit.
am
You're holding
definitely
back.
holding back.
Yeah, self-censored.
What's the difference between a patio and a porch, by the way?
Well, I think it's what you call it. They call this the porch. So you got
Is
to
it,
call
is
it
it,
a
is it
patio.
patio
Patio's more
enclosed?
cement.
Is it
maybe.
patio?
It's a patio.
I thought maybe a
I'm
patio's
thinking
back.
patio.
Is it patio a backyard?
No, I think a
What do you think?
backyard's a
Is this
backyard.
patio or porch, Keith?
There you
Patio
go.
is smaller.
This is a porch. I'll
This
tell you
is
that.
the as
This is definitely a porch.
Patio is smaller. I like that.
See, this patio is usually maybe a patio is off the back of your house and a porch is off the front. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
We're solving the tough
But you can
problems
have a
here
back
today. on
porch.
Wi-Fi. This is what you asked me how the campaign's
Let's talk
going.
about
This is
porches.
what it's all about right here.
We
It's
sit around. It's like
figuring
a
out the
Seinfeld
answers.
episode. Yeah. Is it a patio or a porch? I don't know. Let's talk about this. So,
Porch is in the front, patio's in the back.
We
See, that's
we're
great.
not saying that. Yeah.
porch is in front, so this is the porch.
This is the porch, on the front
My
porch.
bad.
You can't have a back porch? I mean, you can.
Why do people listen to this
We
show?
don't know.
I often ask
Move
people.
on.
This is why we don't know.
I'm
the
watching the
businessman
numbers.
around.
Just yeah.
Actually,
Slowly
as soon
sign
as
for
you
us.
walked on, it started going
Yeah,
down.
that's right. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, we heard from the representative. We can just flip that one off.
So everything's going all right.
I think it's going okay.
Have you honestly, like, ever since the
I'm never gonna get. Listen, you know what though? Listen.
How is it going?
Listen, I'm never going to sit here and oversell it, right? It's going all right. We'll shock the world on November 8th.
We are gonna
Then
shock
ask
the
me
world.
how it's going, all right?
honestly, like my prediction for Zach Brown is on November 9th, he's gonna be getting calls from like candidates that are like,
I'm
you're
going to be
like,
underground. I'm just going to be
you're the magic
hiding
man,
for-
Zach.
On
You're the
vacation.
magic man.
Yeah, I'm going to be on
There
vacation.
you go. All of us. All right.
Well, hold on. I want to say one thing first. Let me shout out my fellow campaign team here.
Yeah, well,
if that's
shout out.
right, because I see three of them right here actually. We
Yes, I do. see
DeAndre
that.
Lovell, Ariel Brandy, and Isaac Roller.
Isaac Robert,
they're
Aaron
wonderful.
Bernard, and Andrew Lovell, let's give it up.
Around on the ground somewhere, Lindsay Hake,
Lindsay
Katie
Hake.
Doyle,
Oh yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, Katie Doyle, Lindsay Hake.
and then of course we got the team, the Hammond team, always hanging.
The Hammond team is
I
always.
mean, Besmar is on the campaign too. You know,
yeah, Geismar is
he's
definitely on the campaign.
he's got
We have,
chance
like-
in everything really.
yeah.
So
I'm super happy and super proud. I'm super happy you're in charge, honestly. And you and Kevin work great together. Kevin's like
yeah,
the damn,
Kevin's been
he's like the
Right,
grand poobah,
yeah,
right? I don't know what his title is, but it's important.
senior advisor.
Yeah, Zach's the one who's giving me like my sanity back, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Kevin wanted out so bad. I was taking it personally.
And Kevin,
He's like,
like,
dude, I gotta get out of
like,
this.
what the hell is going on here?
I know, dude, he was
And
so
I called
happy.
Kevin, he's like, it's all right, we'll get through it.
Yeah.
There I go. Okay, cool.
No, we're a good team. It's great,
That's right.
and we got a great candidate. I mean, and the thing of it is, as much as we're laughing about it with Zach, I
You
mean,
do have a great candidate.
we do have a good candidate. Zach runs a great shop. I mean, we're really on point, and I think Todd Young is in trouble. I think
Dude,
he's
is that
making
your
it.
alarm?
Yeah, I was just
going off?
literally going to say that. I didn't
No,
want to interrupt.
I mean,
Kevin's always pushing
Not
us.
me.
Something's
It is not me.
Is it on your right?
It's Dana Black.
It's Dana Black.
Not me.
Lean left. Turn left. Yeah. So anyway,
Turn
No, it's her
Turn it
go walk alarm.
Oh, Dana, go walk.
Dana, go
I
walk.
think she's already taken a walk.
Dana.
She's not here. She might already be taking a walk.
So-
So
But I think we're on track. I mean,
I think that is-
it's an exciting fall ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited, guys. I appreciate you.
We're about to have some news, by the way. We're launching a little bit of a tour soon. I won't say
yeah.
the name of it yet.
The no bullshit tour.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
There it
See,
is.
yeah.
It's
We
the
gotta
no
be able to
bullshit
say
tour.
it.
I thought we were self-censoring on the porch for a
If
minute.
we are going on the no bullshit tour, you got to be able
We
to say
kinda
it
just
on the
gotta
French
say
Lake
it,
porch,
right?
right?
That's right. You're
On
right.
the French Lake patio.
We're going on the no bullshit tour. Vote November 8th. Go McDermott.com/donate.
Appreciate
Let's
you
get
guys.
this done.
Let's wrap this show up.
Yeah, let's do it. Wrap it.
It's been over an hour.
This
so
was an
I'm
okay
ready.
show, by the way. It
I
went
need a
okay.
drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, we're back on air on Tuesdays and Fridays, the rest of the campaign. When we'll probably go on another month and a half long
That was
vacation.
John.
I appreciate everybody
How's that
for
feel,
listening. Thank you to Zach for taking over the Titanic for us. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
And,
Going down with the
not
ship.
listing
Going
yet.
down,
It's
that's
not-
right.
It is
Zach
not
will go
listing
down with
yet.
this ship. We'll go down together.
It has not hit the iceberg yet.
I think it's going okay.
Yeah.
We think. How's it going again?
I don't know.
Okay.
Ask him.
Okay.
No, he thinks it's going
He
okay.
doesn't want to commit
sure.
to anything.
Yeah.
He'll be like,
I'm not going to commit.
what
Yeah,
happened,
that's right.
Zach? He's like, I told you it was just going
No,
okay.
okay. I mean, I had months ago for this.
That's the new fundraising email right
That's right. It's going okay.
It's going okay. You'll get
Vote
an
for
email.
me.
Give us
I think
$5.
it's going okay.
It's going all right, I guess.
Return for Congress, return for Senate. He'll be okay. Better than the guy we have there, right? Anyway,
That's
Kevin
true.
Smith, thanks for being the guy
Yeah,
move up for the Return
absolutely.
for
You're
Indiana.
welcome.
Thanks for being the
Voice
caboose
of
on Lock
reason
Pod.
here. But yes, booze.
The caboose. Jay Buzz, thank you for working hours putting this mobile studio together. I got something to do right after the show, so I can't help. I hope you're cool with that.
We understand.
I'm sure all
So I got a staff of somewhere too. So
Well, we have a group-wide event actually, but I figured you could just take care of this. Is that cool?
We just him just walking right out of here.
Thank you for the live studio audience. Let's give it up for the Lockpod's live studio audience. Thank you. Thank you to Dana Black for simulcasting. This is the first time we've been simulcasted. Dana Black, thank you very much. And to everybody that's come out for Lockpod's live, second annual live from the Lick. We appreciate you very much. Miss you back home. I'm back home tomorrow. So God bless everybody. Thanks for listening to Lockpod. We're back on the show Tuesdays and Fridays the rest of the campaign. God bless America. We love you. Go Indiana. We love you.
good night, Belgium.
Good night, Belgium.